Fraud, corruption, bribery. You hear these words thrown around all the time, right? On the news, online, everywhere. But do you really know what separates them? Well, in this explainer, we're going to cut right through the confusion and give you the clear, simple breakdown you need.
So what is the real difference? And why does it even matter? It matters because when you see those headlines about the latest scandal, understanding exactly what these terms mean is the key to knowing what's really going on.
Okay, let's kick things off with fraud. To really get what fraud is, you've got to zero in on one single, absolutely critical idea: deception. That's the secret ingredient.
So here's the official definition. The word you really got to pay attention to is deliberate. See, fraud isn't some honest mistake. Oh no, it is a calculated lie. It's a purposeful twisting of the truth, and it's always designed to get something specific.
It really just boils down to these three parts. First, you've got the lie itself, the misrepresentation. Second, you've got the intent behind it, the actual goal of tricking someone. And finally, there's the end game, to get something valuable, like money, or to get out of something you owe, like paying your taxes.
And get this is a super important point in the eyes of the law. It literally doesn't matter if the fraud actually succeeded. Just the attempt to deceive someone is the crime. The law is focused on your intent, not on whether you actually managed to walk away with the cash.
All right, let's move on to our second term, corruption. With this one, our focus is going to shift away from just general deception and onto a very specific kind of power play. We're talking about the abuse of public office.
This definition is so short, but man, it says it all. The use of public office for personal gain. That is the absolute key. Corruption is what happens when somebody in a position of public trust, a politician, a government official, decides to leverage that power for their own private benefit.
So who's the bad guy here? Well, it kind of takes two to tango. It's not just the official who's taking the deal, it's also the person who's offering it. Both of them are part of this dirty transaction that's all about abusing that official's position.
And that whole act of giving something valuable, that leads us perfectly into our final term, bribery. You can think of bribery as one of the main tools used to make corruption happen. It's the specific action, the illicit exchange itself. So, bribery, at its core, is the act of handing over something of value. Could be cash, could be fancy gifts, whatever, all to influence an official decision. It's a transaction, plain and simple, and it's designed to rig the game in your favor. So why do people even offer bribes in the first place? Well, the reasons are actually very practical. You do it to win a contract, to get a license pushed through, to dodge paying taxes, or maybe even to stop a competitor in their tracks. It's all about buying yourself an unfair advantage.
Okay, we have defined all three of our terms. Now for the really important part. Let's put them all side by side so we can really see how they're different and how they all connect.
First things first, let's clear up the two that get confused the most. Corruption is the big picture crime, right? It's the broad abuse of public power. Bribery, on the other hand, is a specific action that makes the corruption happen. So, you could say bribery is a type of corruption, but not all corruption involves a bribe. Make sense? This table, right here, breaks it all down perfectly. Look at the core action row. For fraud, it's all about deception. For corruption, it's abuse of office. And for bribery, it's that illicit exchange. Now look at the key actors. See? Anyone can commit fraud, but corruption revolves around public officials. And the motive? For fraud, it's financial gain. For corruption, personal gain. And for bribery, it's all about influencing a specific decision. This chart is pretty much the key takeaway. So look, if you only remember one thing from all this, let it be this right here. Fraud is deception, corruption is abuse of power, and bribery is an illicit exchange. Simple as that. And there you have it, three distinct concepts, all clearly defined. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Now that you really know the difference, how's that going to change the way you see the news?